Hello students, today we're doing lesson 9.5, factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So the difference from Thursday's or the last lesson, 9.4, is this a in front. So we did do some similar to this, but not exactly. So let's go ahead. We only have a couple of examples today because it's very similar to the last lesson, except that it's, I would say, a little bit, just a tad bit harder. Okay, so we have 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. So we're going to set up our two parentheses that we're going to factor this into. And this one started out pretty easy because what we're trying to do is find numbers that are going to equal 5. But now we have 2 and 3 to take into consideration. Okay, so in the last one, usually when we had a number in front, it meant that we could factor something out in front. But this one we cannot. 2, 3, and 5 do not have a common factor. So for the number 2, I know that I need a 2 and a 1. Okay, there's no other numbers to make for a 2, so this one is a little bit easier. We have plus plus signs, so we're going to have plus plus signs. So we're starting out with one that's really easy. Okay, now if I were to say, well, what makes 3x squared in the front, I would probably say 3x and x. Okay, I'm going to do it wrong first because I want you to see that there's two options. Okay, I can have x and 3x. So now I'm going to check this and see if it's right. So if I multiply these, I get 6x. And if I multiply these, I get 1x. Now adding those together, I get 7x. And that is not my middle number. So I know that that's not correct. So now because I saw that it's not correct, let's switch the 3x and the x. So instead, let's put the 3x here and the x here. Now let's try this multiplication. Now I have 2x here, and when I do this one, I have 3x. So 2x plus 3x is 5x. And now, do you see that one works? So the trick really on this one is knowing where to put your numbers. So this one was easy because I knew 3x and 2 only had one way to do it. So there's my answer. Okay, let's go to one that maybe has a little bit more complicated. Okay, so on this one, we're going to factor 2x squared minus 9x plus 4. Okay, so once again, this one has numbers where I cannot pull out anything from it. 2x and 9x and 4 2, 9, and 4 do not have a common factor. So I'm going to set up my parentheses. Okay, and the first thing I know is that 2x squared can only be 2x and 1x, right? There's no other ones. So I'm just doing that one first. Sorry, I'm losing my voice today. And so this second one right here, this first one, remember we did the 2 first. We did the last part. Because I knew that there was no other way to do 2. It was just 2, right? 2 and 1. So on this one, the same thing. I didn't do 4 first because 4 can be 4 times 1 or 2 times 2. So instead of doing that one first, I'm going to do the first one, the 2x. Because, the 2x only has one way to do it. And that's 2x and x. Okay, I'm getting a little breather here because I have to go let my dog out because he was barking. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, now I need to look at my signs before I start fiddling with that last number. So my signs are minus and a plus. So remember, this last one always tells you what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to be adding. But because this one is a minus, that means I'm going to be using minus minus. Because remember, if both signs are the same, you're going to add. Okay, now I want to make 9x in the middle. So that makes me think that I need some big numbers. If I put a 2 and a 2, because remember, 4 is 4 times 1, or 2 times 2. If I do a 2 and a 2, that's going to give me 2x and 4x. See how that does not make 9x. So I'm going to redo that 2 and 2. My eraser. And I'm going to try 4 and 1. So I'm going to put the 4 here and the 1 here. Now, why did I put those there? Because I know that this one is going to multiply with this one, and that's going to make 8x. And then this is going to make 1x. So that gives me 9x. Okay, so that was my answer. So I kind of just played, you just kind of play around with it until you figure out which one is which. Okay, so hold on, I'm sorry. I would pause this video, only I don't know how to do that. So my dog is barking like crazy. Okay, we're going to move to example 3. And actually, let's do an example 2b and have you do an example on your own. So I'm only supposed to have 3 examples on this, but I'd like y'all to have an example on your own. So let me find one really quick. Okay, here's a good one. Let's do 2x squared, 2x squared minus 25x plus 63. Okay, this one's going to take a little bit more time going through it, so make sure that you take your time, okay? Hit pause and solve that problem. Okay, now that you're back, I'm going to do my parentheses. I have a plus, which means I'm going to add. The last one tells you what you're going to do, but this minus one tells you it's going to be minus minus. So this is just like the last one. And then I know I'm going to have 2x and x because there's nothing else that makes that one, right? Okay, so now I need to work with 63. So 63 has a lot of numbers. I'm trying to make 25. So 63 times 1 is not going to work. 3 times 21, that one might work because I'm trying to get to 25. So that 21 looks good. But I also have this 2 here. So I'm going to keep going through and thinking about this. Okay, and then I have 7 times 9, right? Okay, well, that one could work too because I have to multiply one of those by 2. Okay, so if I multiply the 9 times 2, that's going to give me 18, plus 7 would give me 25. So that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that I'm multiplying the 2x times the 9. So that means the 9 goes here. Okay, hold on, let me erase that circle. Okay, 9 goes here because that's going to make 18x. And then the 7, so we pick this one. The 7 is going to go here, and that's 7x. And when I add these two, I get 25x. Okay? So you won't have as many of these for homework because I know they do take a little bit longer to do time-wise because you have to think about them a little bit more. Okay, last one, example 3. And this one's going to be just a little bit different. Remember, we tried to give you examples of all the different kinds. Okay, this one is 6x squared minus 14x minus 40. Okay, so this one has a lot of things to look at. This one's very complicated because you're going to have some, and I want you to know what to do. First thing you always ask yourself is, can all these numbers be divided by something? We have 6, 14, and 40. And yes, they can. If they're all evens, you always know a 2 can be divided by them. And then just look at other numbers throughout those. But I know it's going to be 2. So I'm going to take out that 2 and see what I have left. So I'm going to have 3x squared minus 7x minus 20. And now I want to factor that inside those parentheses into 2 parentheses. And remember, I left that 2 out there. So I'm going to have 3x and x. And now I'd like you to pause the video and try to get that last number on your own. Oh, but let me tell you this. This is a minus, so that means you're going to be subtracting the numbers. Okay, so go ahead and hit pause and try it on your own. Okay, now that we're back, remember we're trying to make 7 and and we have a 20 and a 3 that we're trying to make that with. Okay, so for 20, I have 20 and 1, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5, right? So, and then I have this 3. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to multiply one of these by 3 to be able to get that 7 when I'm subtracting. So on this one, I would have 3 times 10 is 30 minus 2. That does not work. And if I did it the other way, 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 10 would be like 4, so that one does not work. Let's try the bottom one. 3 times 5 is 15. Minus 4 would be 11. Okay, let's try it the other one. 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 5, there we go. That one is 7. So that means I'm going to pair the 3 with the 4. So the 4 is going to go here. See, so they get paired and make 12x. And then I'm going to take the 5 and put it here because now these get paired and that makes 5x. And now when I subtract those, I get 7. But I need to figure out where my minus and plus signs go. So to figure that out, you always want, let me put that back. You always want the bigger number, that's the 12x here, to be the number, the sign that's in the middle. So we want that to be minus. So we're going to put it with the one that the 12x is with. And then the other one's going to be plus. So why did I pick plus minus when my signs are minus minus? Okay, that's because I need the last number, this last one, to be negative. See? And so to do that, I have to have a plus and a minus. If I have a minus times a minus, that equals a positive. So I don't want that. I want it to end up negative. So a plus times a negative is equal to a negative. Okay, so you have to use all your knowledge of integers that you've been using all year. And so you need to know how to add and multiply with integers. It's very important. And that's why we talked about it and worked on it for so long at the beginning of this year. Okay, so here's our answer for example 3. And those are the kind of problems you're going to be doing today. That's it. Thanks, y'all.